Boy, this was a morning. I wish I hadn't woken up, actually. I wanted to stay asleep in my bed, but I've got work to do. I've got other things to do around the house. And it's really, really cold, by the way. Hence why I've got like 3 layers on it. It's terrible. When the summer comes around next year, I will not be complaining about the long legs and grey boobs I see outside. And that's just the men.
Works every time.
The Witcher Blood Origin was released, and it hasn't been... Oh, actually, it's been released soon, but critics have seen this already, and the scores on Rotten Tomatoes say a lot. 38%. Now, I'm just going to do a cold read of this because I haven't seen anything yet what people have said. So Kyle Fowl, that's a weird name. There's very little here that must be seen if you're a fan of The Witcher. And there's nothing that would hook someone who hasn't checked out the show already. 5.7 out of 10. David Opie, most of these characters and therefore Blood Origin itself remain frustratingly limited, like rough sketches that haven't quite been fleshed out enough. Okay, then you got Kyla Cobb from The Decider. She's a woke critic anyway. Stellar characters, great performances, killer action, and once again, some of the best costuming work on television can go a long way in covering up structural flaws. What Kyla is saying is, it's the veneer, it's the outward appearance, not the content of the characters, that seems to be covering up for the lack of substance in the characters. That's what I'm thinking she's actually saying, but it's kind of cover up her own bad take by saying, well, the costumes are so wonderful. Shut up. Vicky Jessup, it's hard to feel invested in the fate of characters who ultimately are little more than a footnote in Sapkowski's books. How much Witcher is too much? Here's your answer. In other words, you can't have a white straight male in the role because you threw him out, didn't you, Lauren Hisrich? Sorry, Lauren Schmid Hisrich. And you've given us a series like this, which nobody asked for. Michelle Yeoh, I'm a big fan of hers, but she can be hit and miss with her performances. Hate to say it, she can come across as wooden sometimes, and other times she's really, really great. Like in Everything Everywhere All at Once, she's fantastic because she had 2 great directors guiding her. But the reason why I talk about the bad reception to Witcher Blood Origin, this story as well, I mean, you gotta cringe straight away. I mean, whoever pieced this photograph together is, full marks to them. The Witcher Blood Origin adds a lore change to Ciri's ancestry. For those of you who don't know who Ciri is, it's the lovely blonde girl here on the right, and apparently this is her ancestor on the left. No blight on the actress on the left who has been asked to play this role. Ellie is Ciri's millennia distant ancestor. So she's a distant ancestor, but she's still an ancestor of sorts. It makes no bloody sense other than we've got to shove identity politics into Witcher lore, something that probably Andrzej Sapkowski didn't agree to, and she's better off with the pointy ears in the Rings of Power. You could have thrown her in there. So this actress, she signed up for the role, probably wasn't told who she was going to play or what significance it would have, so no blaming on her. It's just the writing is absolutely terrible. Why I mention this, because when the first season of The Witcher was due to be aired, they wanted to race change Ciri straight away, which met, not surprisingly, with a ton of backlash. If the character is already established, why then do you want to go in and re-establish her for the sake of politics? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's so bizarre. And I'm glad they pushed back on that, the fans, because it doesn't make... Oh, you know what I would like to see? Take an established black character that we all know and like and race swap them for a white person. I wonder what the reaction is going to be at that point. If Peter Parker was originally a black fellow back in the 60s, would I have an objection about him being a white character now? I don't know. That's a very hard question for me to even answer. Would we be having this conversation if the roles were reversed? I honestly can't tell you. I don't know. But the time I was brought out into this world and what I was exposed to, I'm happy to accept that characterization, that interpretation. I don't have any problems. Never had a problem with Peter Parker. It was great. I could look up to somebody who I can relate to. In the same way I can relate to Bill Bixby as David Bruce Banner in Incredible Hulk. The guy's down on his luck. He has to roam from town to town. He has little to no money at all to survive on. He gets picked on a lot. I can relate to characters like him. You know, that's why I love The Incredible Hulk so much, the TV series, more than any other iteration that's come after. I mean, that is the version of the Hulk I'll always live and die by. But speaking of living and dying by...
Yes, fear can be fun. Was that a noise outside? It was, you know.
Disney CEO Bob Iger came up with this very strange narrative not too long ago. And he's advocating for increased gun control measures. There is no greater or more important task than ensuring the safety and well-being of our children. The same children, Bob Iger, that Marvel and Disney like to propagate with their sexual identity agendas, shall we say. So we've got Sebastian Stan here as the Winter Soldier, brandishing a gun. And then it goes on further to talk about reshaping the world, where their content is going to be a reflection of gun control. That is my understanding. But what Bob Iger is missing the point on, you're replacing guns in Marvel films with knives, which to me is actually even worse. The UK has a massive problem with knife crime. And a lot of the Marvel movies have people stabbing each other, using knives in combat. But for some reason, I guess knives in America, knife crime in America is a rare thing, or it just happens amongst street gangs. But Bob Iger's like, well, we've got to focus on gun control because, yes, people like Tony Stark and Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2 propagate the use of weaponry. So therefore we've got to tone it down a little bit. Bob Iger has completely lost his mind. And if he becomes president of the USA, we're going to get another Joe Biden on our hands, aren't we? So absolute bollocks. I don't need to hear about what he has to say about how is he going to control guns in the US. It's a massive industry. It's probably a bigger industry than tobacco. Firearms is going to be up there. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be a very protected commodity, if you like. And I'm all for people who want to protect their homes in America from home invasions. I'm all for that. But again, it's not that guns kill people. It's people who kill people with guns, right?
Do you think we could let our viewers see just what it takes to change you into your public image?
Oh, it would be my pleasure. Come on in, fellas. Yes, that's better. And now, this.
Wow. But listen, we've got to end on a bit of a brighter note. And this story made me laugh. So, I talked about Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny. And James Mangold out on the defensive, where we're not changing any endings. We have what we want, and the film's already in the can. Well, the great John Williams, who apparently is 91, I had no idea about this. So when he said Harrison Ford is younger than him, I thought, really? I thought you guys are the same age. Obviously, Harrison Ford isn't 91, but you get my drift. So John Williams recently confirmed Lucasfilm is indeed shooting multiple endings for Indy 5. Overlord recently shared a clip of Williams speaking to a crowd in Italy about the film, where he notes that Lucasfilm is planning to shoot another ending for Indiana Jones 5. Shall we take a listen to this, because I want to hear it.
Pieces from
And there we go.
Indiana Jones 5. I thought we would be finished with Indiana Jones after 4. You know Harrison Ford. You all know who Harrison Ford is. And Harrison is 78 years old. But he's much younger than I am. But I thought, if he can do 5 of them, I have to try to do the fun 5. So we have just about completed the film. We have maybe another ending to shoot and to record maybe in a couple of weeks.
We have maybe another ending to shoot. So for me, that's not definitive that they are going to shoot another ending. Maybe another ending to shoot. So that idea is definitely being considered. And they might be shooting in a few weeks' time, because the film is not being released until June of 2023. And, you know, actually my contact who works for Disney did say to me last week there's a nickname for Kathleen Kennedy, which is, if he's male, we're going to make him a woman in a film, not transitionally wise, because that would be a very strange thing to go around with. But when I heard that, I thought, yep, that sounds like Miss Kennedy, all right. And I've heard the rumors, I've heard the rumblings. People are pushing back on the idea, because, you know, if you want to emasculate your leading male hero and you want to throw him a peg down or two and make way for Fleabag, because we want Fleabag to be the new Miss Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's not going to go down well with the folks. It's not. It's not. So quit while you're ahead. Get rid of Kathy Kennedy. Get rid of the idiots who run Disney and Lucasfilm. Just make Jon Favreau the head of Lucasfilm. He's the right guy for that role. He knows what he's doing, at least. So John Williams letting this slip out there was hilarious. I don't think he's got time for being under NDAs, or he's getting to that age where he doesn't really care anymore. And good for Mr. Williams for bringing this to the forefront. It's going to be very interesting what happens. I'll probably say in January 23, where they'll start the reshoots. And it's going to be an expensive process, and whether Harrison Ford is required to come back on the film set remains to be seen. So guys, if you enjoyed this quick roundup today, and I've got another video coming out, so by the time you see this video it'll be Friday, but today I'm shooting another video which I'm not really looking forward to doing, but you'll know why when you've already seen it. So on that one, folks, if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and like James Blunt, I've got to say it, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, it's true.
Let's go diving together again sometime.
Love to.